Hello, everyone. My name is Nico from Microsoft. I'm here with Mark Fensom from HP.
Good morning, all.
And today we're going to go through how Microsoft and HP are going to help you position digital transformation through a modern workplace for your customers in the small and mid-sized businesses ecosystem. And when we talk about digital transformation, let's go through that. You might have heard us. Sorry, let me step back a sec. In today's webinar, we're going to go through some market trends. We're going to talk about Microsoft 365 Business and the HP commercial devices that complement this modern workplace proposition. And then we're going to talk also about the partner opportunity and a few call to actions if you want to learn more or start transacting this type of offering. I was talking about digital transformation, and usually when we think about this, we go through the differences between the old and the new ecosystem of products that we have, of value propositions that we have in the market. We used to have strong hierarchies in the businesses, and today we have new structures in the companies that are more flexible. We have millennials. We have 5 generations of employees working in these type of companies, and we want to make sure that we adapt to these. We used to have not a lot of information, and today we have a ton of information, and actually only 0.5% of the total information that is captured today is being used. And actually, is it being used in the right way? I'm not sure about it. And then when we think about the way those employees in the companies work, we used to have a very isolated environment with the desktop and the cubicle, and that is the environment that they would go to from 9 to 5. And nowadays we have the modern workplace is more mobile. It's enabling people to work wherever they want, in the way they want, from the device they want, and they do some at home, some at work, some in a cafe, and things like that. So we need to start thinking about how we empower our businesses, our customers, to achieve more through this digital transformation. And we've seen a few of these of examples that we can take as reference of companies that have tackled these and used the digital transformation to disrupt a business or even an industry. An example of this would be Uber, for example. So Uber decided to change the entire taxi industry by building an app. And that is something that, using the digital era on their favor, they can disrupt everything. But at the same time, we don't want to think about only those brilliant ideas as the only things that can bring to market disruption. We want to think about digital transformation in every single one of our customers, and we want to empower them. And at Microsoft, when we think about digital transformation, we are framing it in 4 different pillars. One of them is transform your products, and this is how you become a digital business. An example of this is Microsoft ourselves. We've gone through a perpetual license to a subscription with Office 365, for example, and that is something that cost us a lot. But you can see how this subscription base is changing the way people adopt these products and transact. So that is a good use of technology and the digital era to make sure that you become more relevant for your customers. Also, you have optimize your operations, and we see how technologies like IoT help connect equipment that traditionally has been isolated, for example, in manufacturing, and you can analyze data now to make sure that you have proactive maintenance or improve your logistics. We also have the way we engage with our customers that are more savvy. They learn about our products, and sometimes they even know more than us. And you need to engage with them in a more personal way, with a message that resonates with them in the channels that they are active. So this digital marketing, modern marketing, and the automation of that marketing is key through those channels. And finally, empower your employees. And this is how we are making sure that we provide the tools for these modern employees to work in a digital era. And we've seen a few of these examples that have been very, very successful, where they enable those employees to work in different ways. And that's kind of what we're going to focus on a bit more. As I was talking about Microsoft ourselves, we have structured our company in a different way. And now what we're talking about is 4 solution areas: modern workplace, business applications, applications and infrastructure, and data and AI. These 4 solution areas are the way that we are going to help our customers go through this digital transformation. And today we're going to be focusing about the modern workplace. That is what we are going to be talking about with Mark from HP. But let's step back. We want to think about what are the trends in the market that are relevant, and why did we build this type of concepts and offerings of modern workplace? Why were we talking about this? Today we know that 50% of the market is working in a more collaborative way, and this is the way people are doing things. If you think about these 5 generations working at the same time in the same company, the millennials are bringing a different way of collaboration to the business. In the past would be isolated. Now people want to bounce ideas off each other. They want to prove, test, and they want to react to market environmental changes. That's why social media is kind of a key thing for them. The other thing is the workforce is going mobile. And we know that today 37% worldwide is going through this transformation, and people are working from anywhere they want, on their phones, on a tablet, on a laptop, from a cafe, and we know that this is going to increase. We are predicting that by 2020 this is going to be more than 50%, and it's not going to stop. And the third interesting point here is cyber threats, and this is, for most small businesses, a top of mind. We know that 43% of the cyber attacks today are targeting SMBs, and out of those that have been attacked, 60% go out of business in less than 6 months. That is a massive, massive impact. And those who survive, they have a lot of pains trying to recover from the financial impact that brings. And today, this is not a top of mind for many businesses, but it's becoming a top of mind with the attacks that we know from, let's say, WannaCry, Petya, and all of those. The ransomware is something that is top of mind for everyone. And we want to make sure that they understand that we do have a way to help them, and you guys become a trusted advisor for them and make things easier and safer in their business. Now, if you walk into one of your customers, many of you would see a lot of fragmented solutions that they are using. So with fragmented solutions, I talk about today the small business needs some storage, so they go to Dropbox and open an account there. If they need a CRM, they go to Salesforce and open an account there. And those solutions are very fragmented. They don't talk to each other. And you as a partner, if you are providing the services as well, you would be trying to plug everything into probably a legacy system. Some of you might have been selling for years the small business service solution. That was great, loved it, but it's old. And now we need to think about how can we improve these with something that is supported, that is relevant, that is connected, and that is intelligent. These legacy ecosystems are also based on good enough platforms. We have some Windows 8, Windows 7, and even some Windows XP around in small businesses. And if you think about XP, for example, that is a 16-year-old product and it's end of life and support. So you want to make sure that they are actually protected, because if you think about it, that product is kind of trying to fight the threats of today with a bow and arrow, right? We need to make sure that we give them the intelligent solutions that we have today to stop any of the threats in the market. And on top of all that, there is a lack of technology strategy. So they have some desktops, they have some laptops, and they change those laptops whenever they break, and they don't have a proactive approach to that. And the worst point is that they have the BYO devices, that are those phones that the employees bring to the business, not connected in a really good way. So many of them have probably chosen a cloud solution like Office 365 that is great. They can give that freedom to the employees to access from the phone, but actually that information that is business related is living in that phone and is not protected, because that phone is not in the environment that you're protecting. We also know that small businesses are, we did a survey here in Australia, and we have the small business owners talking about being the involuntary IT manager. They spend 63% of them spend more than 4 hours a week trying to solve IT solutions, and they are not an IT expert whatsoever. And 50% of them say that they spend time searching on internet. So this is a good opportunity for you guys to become a trusted advisor with proactive approach to these businesses, to give a set of solutions that are going to help them go through these, support these issues, and go and prevent from these threats. Now, for you, this means that you will have to spend a lot of time on many services that are not really something that adds a lot of value. You're just maintaining something, and you are becoming the break and fix guy instead of being that trusted advisor. They are calling you whenever they have a problem, but not strategically. You guys probably are reducing your margins in this type of services because it's a commodity that anyone can do, and actually that is making your business not very profitable. This is the feedback that we get every single day from our partners, and this is why we're trying to bring solutions that also enable you to make more profit out of it, and to actually retain that customer, get rid of the transactional things, and focus on those things that add more value. Add your IP, add your differentiated value to that business, and make sure that you create that relationship that enables you to have an ongoing approach to these customers. Another very, very relevant point is a new law that is coming into Australia. There is a new scheme that is called the Notifiable Data Breach, and I have some information here for you. This is going to start in February 22nd. This is a top of mind for every single business. And the reason why is that whenever you have a data breach, you will have to proactively communicate to all your customers that there was a possibility that the data had been compromised. And in the past, many of you might not have had this. And I'm not just talking about you, I'm talking about your customers. Think about your customers serving customers and users. They don't want to have to contact all the customers and say, hey, again, we lost your data. Again, we had a breach. Again, things like that. And examples that the government is giving in terms of what these data breaches can be are, for example, a device that contains customer information is lost or stolen, or the personal information was sent by mistake to a wrong person. Also, database hacks. So these are things that every single business is going to be thinking about, and is going to be very, very relevant in the coming months. So we want to make sure that we have something to address that. From a Microsoft perspective, the good thing is we do have a product in market that is brand new and tackles some of these things. And what we're trying to do is bring together the best of Windows, Office 365, and Enterprise Mobility and Security Suite into one single solution that is purpose-built for SMBs. So this is not a marketing wrapper for 3 different solutions in one. This is something that takes the best of each and brings a single solution in one SKU, easy to transact by a partner, to add up to the services and the hardware that they are selling, to make a compelling reason for a customer to transact and forget about the technology and focus on what they do best, that is their business, right? And the value proposition of Microsoft 365 Business is that allows customers to achieve more together anywhere it matters, with always-on security, and is simplified for their business. Now, let's go in a bit more detail on what this means. Microsoft 365 Business is a holistic set of business productivity and collaboration tools, which means that we're bringing absolutely everything that is included in Office 365 Business Premium. That is the desktop applications like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, and all of those that they know and love. This includes rich capabilities of collaboration on-premise, not only in the cloud, but on-premise at the same time, and co-authoring those documents. We also have services like Exchange, OneDrive, Skype, Teams, and SharePoint that enables that communication between the different parts of the organization. And we are launching business applications like Bookings, that is an online platform that helps businesses that are based on appointments, like hairdressers or doctors, to get forget about spending time on the phone trying to log those appointments, and have an online platform that does that for them and connects to Outlook. We also have Outlook Customer Manager, that is a super light CRM that enables them to retrieve all the interactions with the customer, create a persona within a database that they can choose to share within their company. So if they go on annual leave and they need to action on a project, they can do it, track deals, assign tasks to colleagues, and so on. But we also bring, on top of all these, we are bringing enterprise grade device management and security capabilities. And this is protecting the applications for Office 365 across different platforms and mobile phones. This includes Android and iOS. So with this, you'll be able to set up second method authentication for your employees to access these devices. We also give you management of the devices running Windows 10. And you will be able to set policies, decide whether Defender and Cortana are allowed or not. And if the customers or employees can copy and paste information from one application to the other. For example, if it is business, you restrict to business applications. So if I want to copy and paste a patent that has been sent by email to me in my WhatsApp to share with someone else, or in my personal email, it's going to be popping up a text saying that the admin is not allowing this. And we also bring things like Defender, antivirus, and all the sets of security features that Windows 10 has. And on top of that as well, we also have simplified device deployment and user setup. And this is from a single console. And this is important because if you're familiar with the Office 365 Business Premium console, we're adding these features from device management and security into that console to make it super simple. We also have installation of Office apps and deployment of the policies and configuration and applications through what we call Windows Autopilot. So you don't need to go and spend time with your customers setting each device up for them. And this is kind of a really good value proposition for you guys, because this is a task that doesn't add value, is very low in margin, and you can actually focus on other things and not waste your time on that one. Now, people usually ask me, okay, but this sounds like what you have in Office 365 Business Premium. Well, this is a way to compare it. We do include everything that comes with Office 365 Business Premium, and you can see the difference in cost. But we are adding the main two things: device management that Office doesn't have, and security that Office doesn't have, right? So refer to this slide to understand a bit more what are those things that are included or are not included. Lastly, I was talking about that security policy that is changing in Australia. Well, this slide is showing you that we do have a broad offering of Microsoft 365 SKUs that are bringing different features that are helping you tackle this opportunity or this concern from your customers. The one on the left is the Microsoft 365 Business, and two of those three examples that we were talking about from this government announcement are covered in here. So you can restrict that copying and pasting of business data into personal apps. So you restrict the ability to send to the wrong person the information. You can encrypt your data. You can wipe selective data with one click from the console. So if some device is lost or stolen, you can set up policies to wipe it automatically after X amount of days, or with one click, wipe everything, so you ensure that that data is not compromised and you don't need to contact those customers. As you can see here, we do have two enterprise offerings that are more robust, include the enterprise products of the three business solutions: Office, Windows, and EMS. More features. And this is all based on GDPR. GDPR is the compliance standard for Europe that is much more robust than what we have here in Australia. And that is the benchmark we're working towards. If I give you an example, that notifiable data breach notification, in Australia, you have 30 days to assess and communicate with your customers. In Europe, you have 72 hours. So this is the comparison of the standard. And there are many, many more things that we don't have in Australia, but we think that over time, we're going to go towards it. Now, what does it mean for you? This is a good way for you to increase your profitability. As I said, this is simplifying sales cycles and avoiding things that are transactional to focus on more things. And it's simplifying the way you source these solutions, because we're bringing everything in one single package from one vendor. And that's something that our partners have been asking for a while. Expanding your services. This is part of the CSP, Cloud Services Provider motion. So if you're not signed up on that licensing model, please do so. And on top of that, we're helping you understand and develop new practices on top of this. And the good thing is you are billing the customer. So the customer won't see Microsoft at all. It will see you, and you can wrap your services on top of these. And finally, given that this is a per user per month construct, of course you can also sell per year, but per user per month usually drives customer retention. You become a trusted advisor, and the fact that you're using these talking points that I'm showing you here to have that discussion proactively, that generates a bigger trust with that customer, and you'll be able to retain a bit more of that relationship. These are a few pieces of research from Forrester saying that they are expecting an increase on managed services with this type of products. The attach is going to increase, the revenue is going to increase, and the revenue of the services included as part of the package is also a good opportunity because it's going up as well. Who are we targeting? Sweet spot is 20 to 50 seats. We have a technical cap of 300 seats before you have to go to enterprise or other type of services. A good customer is that is concerned with security, as I talked before about the notifiable data breaches, or someone that is willing to work with the partner because they are growing and they have been doing themselves all the IT setup. If they want to go to the cloud, that's a really good opportunity. Or those customers that have been using all versions of Windows and Office, that's also a good one. Device refresh, that's key. And that's the big talking point that we see a lot. A device breaks, it's a really good opportunity to engage a HP device that is modern, that enables a lot of things that Mark is going to talk in a minute, and you can attach to that Microsoft 365 and have that opportunity. But when we're talking about the modern workplace, it's not just Microsoft 365 business. And the modern workplace has two components, the software and also the hardware, because that hardware piece is going to enable that. And I'm going to pass it to Mike to talk a bit more about the HP commercial devices.
Thank you, Nico. Morning, everyone. This is where HP really comes in. We're starting to look at how are people starting to look at the office of the future. We're now seeing that big shift away from the traditional cubicle-based office to a more emerging open plan style of office. Collaborative zones, huddle spaces, and I could bring in 10 different customers here and they can say, yep, 5 of them say we've moved to it, it's absolutely fantastic, and another 5 will say, no, it hasn't worked well for us. Sydney Morning Herald did a report a couple of weeks ago saying that we see that a lot of millennials can cope with this because they can drown out the distraction of other people, while a lot of the older sort of market is saying that they don't like the distractions, they are working more from home, they're a lot more stressed and taking more leave. So this can work both ways, but it really comes down to what works best for the employee base that you have. A lot of people just knee-jerk because they think they need to move to this while not considering how their people work and be productive. But when we look at creating products for these type of spaces, you've also got to consider working from home, working from those cafe public spaces, and even from the aeroplane. As Nico showed, that a lot more, and moving to 50%, I believe it was, is moving to that mobility solution. Airplane travel is increasing. People are seeing that borders are now dropping. And so you need to tailor a product for this type of environment. However, when you look at the core of what your users and the IT require, this is where you want that is security, easy deployment, employee satisfaction, service support, and lifecycle management. You don't want products that are just going end of life after 6 months or so. And they use the word millennial. I'm not a big fan of the millennial word. I'm a zennial apparently. I fit between two different categories. They had to make up a new name for me. But any user now wants a cool device. They want something mobile and they want something collaborative. And this is where HP is now starting to move from being a very device-centric company that we used to be, where we used to say, right, here's a big heavy device, now make it work in your workspace. We're changing our R&D now. We're now looking at the user and the workspace because it's constantly changing. And this is where our products are now centric towards those types of solutions. We had the old then, unfortunately this was only a couple of years ago. We've now moved to the now. This is where HP is now having the word panache used with them from reviewers. I've never, in my 8 years at HP, ever heard panache used with HP, but this is where we're now starting to see those very cool, very lightweight, rugged design products that look sexy as well. These are our old modular computers that we used to have 50 years ago. This is one of HP's first computers. This is the now. This is our new Elite Slice, which is a modular PC. A lot sexier, a lot nicer. You're starting to see that consumer styling of the black and gold coming into the commercial environment. This is where we're starting to look at a one life environment where your consumer and commercial is now starting to blend. But when we look at all HP products, this is our innovation platform. We drive a lot of it around the design, making sure it's still rugged, reliable. The collaborative environment, we're now including Skype for Business buttons, so you're able to get into a meeting a lot quicker. But the big one is security. And everyone knows that security is going to be the number one or number two discussion in any organization at this time. As Nico mentioned, we're changing the laws in Australia with the Notifiable Data Breach Act coming out next year. This will be a big changer in how you look after your devices. This is where we're starting to see the numbers ourselves. A 200% rise in breaches targeted at the endpoint. And that's not just a PC or a desktop. This is looking at printers as well as connected devices. Internet of Things is now starting to have a much connected connection between the internet and where people can start to penetrate organizations. Average breach costs for Australia is around $9.5 million, and I think that number's quite low because most ransomware attacks are around $250 to $500 now. Every 40 seconds in Q3, a business was attacked by ransomware. And visual hacking, I'll talk about a bit later, but 9 out of 10 visual hacking attempts are successful. This is where, and I'm sure we could bring in any vendor sit next to Microsoft that will say the same thing, that HP want to become the most secure and manageable PCs on the market with our current range of PCs. However, we're not just looking at it as a bolt-on. We like to look at it from a device identity data, not just with inside the OS, with inside Windows, but above the OS and below the OS. And this is where we have Sure Start, which is our BIOS level protection. We then look at our identity and how you authenticate with our solutions, as well as how you use the products out in public and repurpose machines and cope with those things coming through. Our Secure Erase product there that I mentioned, you can do a US Department of Defense 5 times wipe on the product. So when you repurpose a system, it's not going to have data sitting there that could be recovered. 75% of most, or 73% of most PCs on eBay that are secondhand can have data recovered from it. You don't want that happening when you're a business. So let's start at the BIOS level. As soon as you switch on that PC, we start protecting your system. If you have some malicious code attack your BIOS, 9 times out of 10, it's a full motherboard replacement with our competition. With our Sure Start product, if there's any malicious code on that BIOS, we will put our golden image of a BIOS straight back on, and you're back up and running in less than a minute. That BIOS is untouched by hardware or software, and it will get you back up and running. It will give the user a warning to say this has happened. It'll also create a Windows event log, allowing you to have full scalability across the organization and know when this is happening. It'll also give you runtime intrusion detection, where if I start opening a PDF that starts to want to shut down my encryption or my security features, it will also give you a message about that, giving you full integration across the whole system straight at the start of as soon as you click that button to switch on. As I was saying before, we've even got to the point where we need to start looking at our authentication levels. It's no longer the case where you can be something you know, a password or a PIN number. password, the good old capital P @word, doesn't cut it anymore. You need to move to something you have. Smart card, Bluetooth connectivity, proximity cards, but the best is something you are. This is where we start to use the Microsoft Windows Hello, where you start logging in with IR cameras for facial recognition or hardened biometrics with your fingerprint. 63% of most breaches happen because of weak or default password. You really need to amp this up, and this is where you can also start to move into multi-factor authentication to give you that million times better than a standard unhardened password. However, one of the best ways now is to start connecting with your phone. You start having those devices where I'll give you a case, you're sitting at your desk, you get that phone call, you are in a collaborative environment. You don't want other people listening to it. So you want to just duck off to a private room or a quiet room. You get up, you walk away, you forget to lock your machine. This is where we have a one-to-one connection with our PC and a low Bluetooth connection, where as soon as I move out of my proximity, it'll lock the machine for me. When I come back to my desk and I move into that zone, it will unlock the machine for me. Now, people say, well, I'll just take someone's phone and move into their space. Even if you set that up, you can have it so that you have to unlock your phone before it unlocks your PC, giving that extra level of authentication. However, what is really cool about this is, if while I'm away, someone's trying to put in a USB key, change the network state, move my device, open the lid, it will give me a tamper report of exactly what's been happening while I've been away from my PC. You can also get all the data that you want about your PC. Memory usage, temperature, battery life, as well as all the data that if you can't log in, IT want that data, being what's the computer's name, what's the speeds and feeds, even down to what the serial number is. And if you have an organization that moves across different levels, different states, different countries, you can walk up and use a QR code to allow you to scan a HP printer and install those drivers back on the PC so someone can print on that floor or wherever they are very quickly. Now, I was talking about visual hacking. 9 out of 10 attempts of steal sensitive data. 56% of that is sensitive. Okay, what's visual hacking? It's where I may be coming back from the domestic airport, sitting on the train, and have a person come in, sit next to me, and open their PC, and I can then start seeing what they do. This is a real example for me. I sat next to a gentleman. He opened up a competitor's product, and I realized that he was from a company that I presented to 2 weeks earlier. He then started to work on his email. He then started to work on PowerPoints. I saw all the data that he was doing. There was no level of protection for him. I then sent that data to our CAP manager, and one of the PowerPoint presentations that he had was a 50% reduction in real estate and staffing cost. Now, reduction in cost, reductions in staffing, these are things that you don't want your competition, you don't want your customers, you definitely don't want other staff members that become scared about their positions, losing their jobs, to know about. And I saw this in a 10-minute train trip. So HP SureView allows you to have a inbuilt integrated privacy screen. From 35 degrees from center, great for aeroplanes, I'm able to switch this on with the use of function F2, and I've got an inbuilt privacy screen. In our current X360, in our new range coming out that I'll talk about a bit later, the screen goes white. Why is that? Because 9 times out of 10 you're going to be using Office, and 9 times out of 10 of that you're probably going to have a white screen. Our previous models had a black screen. Now this isn't software, this is hardware, this is built into the display. And as I said, it gives you a 35 degree from center, perfect for aeroplanes, and it reduces 95% of the visible light. So you might be able to see a little bit of the graph there, but you won't be able to see the finer details of it all. I moved to this product, to the X360 1030 G2, for this product alone. I used to look after the workstation business. I work on a lot of presentations of unreleased products. I moved to this just for this alone. Customers that use any type of sensitive data, which is just about everyone these days, want to move to this. Finally, our HP SureClick. This is where we use the CPU virtual machine to start centralizing our browser tabs. So if you're using Internet Explorer or a Chrome-based Varium, you can then come in and you see here, normally you click on that link, first thing that happens is you get the big red screen, please pay this ransom to this person, and the whole virus has now affected the whole system. Even to the point where I had a customer come in and present to me and they said, yep, there was one guy in the organization that affected 50 PCs across it. He was the CISO. He's the one guy you kind of think you shouldn't be clicking on those links, but he was the one to do it. The ransomware, as I said, every 40 seconds a business gets attacked by it, are getting faster and smarter. They're getting a lot better looks. I'm sure I've had those Australian posts, the banking ones. Even I had one from my banking organization, as they say, and it looked really, really good. So it's very easy for someone to just quickly click on it. How does SureClick get around this? What we do is we virtualize each of the tabs within inside Internet Explorer and Chrome. We will have an edge variation coming towards the end of the year. This is now rolling across most of our products. So if I do get that virus affect my Internet Explorer, I can close down that tab and it hasn't affected any other tabs that are open or any other apps that are running or any part of my OS. Okay, this allows you to mitigate a lot of the risk while having it completely stable for your systems. I had one agency come up to me and say, we had someone click on a link and all they did was close the machine and walked out and went home. It's not the type of way you want to treat these type of impacts to your business. You want to know about this. You want to educate your users on how to do this. This is the type of thing that can help mitigate a lot of the risk. Now, a lot of people say, yeah, we can get this across a lot of different companies and all this type of stuff. The grey here is what the industry has. The gold or the off brown, I really need to change this color, but it is where you start to see HP's innovation. It really goes above and beyond what the industry standard expects. We have our BIOS level protection across all of our range. We move up to our top Elite 1000 series, you get those IR cameras. And as I said, SureClick started off in our 1000 series. We're now putting that across most of our range. So it really gives you that extra level of protection as you go up the stack for our security. But while you're still at the lower levels, you still have a good level of protection. Now, a lot of people just turn around and say, well, Fenton, that's just bloatware, we blow it all away, it's all software. The only thing that's really software here is our client security suite. The rest is a combination of hardware and software, giving you that capability to have not just something that's just bolted on or starting to just add on at the end. This is built into the device. This is part of the silicon. And this is the thing, Nico's already spoken about the extra level of security to avoid those data breaches with inside Microsoft 365. We don't want to turn any of this off. We want to empower Microsoft to go further with the security, but making sure the device at the end is exactly secure with the silicon they're running with. As I said, as you go up our stack, you get extra levels of security, but with the Microsoft combination with HP, you have that reinforced level from hardware to software that really resonates for security and prevents you against these data breaches. Now, as I said, let's talk about a couple of the products we've got here. HP's innovation has been on fire at the moment. We dropped our enterprise guys off our about 2 years ago, and we're putting now about $3 billion back into our innovation, back into our R&D. So we're really starting to see our products accentuate. We're starting to have that focus within gaming, in our premium platforms, and One Life. Now, I spoke a little briefly about One Life before. One Life is where we go from having multiple devices back to one device that is a commercial security grade device that I can still use to watch Netflix, enjoy my social life, consuming my consumption space. That's the sort of life we were trying to get to. And in our X360 1030, we launched that in January. This is where that starts to come through. This is where you start to see that it's a business convertible, but still with the stylings and the design of a consumer product. We've now launched our thinnest and lightest convertible in a 1020. It's a 12-inch form factor. And we have a 180-degree power PC, which is a quad or dual core processor in the 1040. Now, when we look at the specs across these, we go from 12.5-inch to 14-inch. But to give you an idea of that One Life environment, that 1020, that has 5 speakers built into it. You don't really need 5 speakers to do your collaborative working environment, but you need it for when you want to watch Netflix, as I said, or YouTube. If you want to go down the 1040, it has 6 speakers built into it. You're getting a very consumerized device in a commercial offering. You are looking at 15.5 hours battery, up to 18 hours of battery in the 1040 with the dual core processors. You have the SureClick, the SureView. We have a premium collaboration in the keyboard where you can, if you have a Skype for Business call come in, it will show green and red and you're able to answer it very quickly and easily. And it also has fast charge where I'm able to come in and have 50% charge in 30 minutes when it's switched off. And the stylings of this, it's looking at about 1.13 all the way up to 1.36 kilos. So still very light, easy to carry. Nico already put in an order for the 1020. He absolutely loves it. And in this range, you get the IR camera and the touch fingerprint. Now, what is really cool in the 360 form factors, I love this because I can give it to my mum and she can use it as a clamshell. I can give it to my kids and they can use it as a tablet. But what's really cool for me, I can then increase my productivity by about 40% by using the pen on both of these solutions. And this is where we're using the Wacom pen with about 2,000 levels of pressure and multiple degrees of tilt to get that extra productivity. Now, Nico, I know you spoke about it before with that increase in productivity across the Office range. How's the pen starting to help across both Windows and Office?
Look, the great thing about the pen is this type of hardware innovation is helping us develop different experiences, right? We've done it with touch, with pen, and even with mixed reality now, thanks to the headsets that we're building together. And this is something that companies like Microsoft and HP, we work from the bottom up together. And for example, with the pen, you have access to the native inking workspace. With a click of a button, you will be accessing that. And you have from sticky notes that are smart, and it connects to Cortana to give you reminders, or one click to understand what's happening and act on it, to things like screen capture or things like that. But we also have a lot of innovation into our Office 365 products, like the Word Ink Editor, that enables you to do the same thing that you would do today on a piece of paper, like scratching a paragraph that you don't like, or highlighting a sentence or something like that, but with smarts. So when you scratch it, it will go off. And when you highlight, it will have it with precision. Or even turning ink to text that you can index and search for in OneNote. Those type of things are really good, and that integration is making you much more productive, and you don't need to go to paper with a printer and then scanning and so on.
I love OneNote. I know my boss got me onto it, and the fact that I'm able to just scribble down in my nearly doctor scroll across the thing and still be able to use it, it's fantastic. It's a hell of a lot quicker than going back and forth from the keyboard or going back and forth from pen and paper to back to a digital format later on, and then double handling that data. I'm able to write it down quickly and easily and be able to use it straight away. So I absolutely love the pen, and we actually are taking bigger steps with the pen. We've just announced our most powerful detachable PC. This is our ZBook X2. This is a 2-in-1 device, but it's a workstation powered device. This thing it'll launch in December, but come February, with the release of the 8th gen processors, you'll be able to have a quad-core processor in it, 32 gig of RAM, an M620 graphics card, and this is all the power at your fingertips in a 2-in-1 form factor. What's really cool is the keyboard works when you have it disconnected. It's a Bluetooth connection, and the pen in this is over 4,000 levels of pressure. It's probably one of the best inking experiences I've used. I had a customer event a couple of weeks ago for the education space, and this one woman started just having a little bit of a scribble, and it turned into a very nice artistic drawing by the end of it. She was there for about half an hour. She did 2 or 3 different presentations. She compared it to her painting days on the weekend, where she actually gets the paint out and starts painting, but with no mess. She enjoyed it that much. She had different textures and colors. It was fantastic. You can even have our Dream Color panel in this, which goes up to about 10 billion colors. So really vivid colors, really excellent performance. You can use it as a 2-in-1, you can use it as a tablet, but you can also dock it and use it with your keyboard and mouse and monitors. Really good and flexible on what you can do with it. Now, I just want to show you some other parts of the innovation that HP is coming with. This is a very cool product, and I've got it here, and some of the guys have already checked it out. But this is our new VR backpack. This is where I've got a very small contained unit, which is a VR engine. This thing really is an engine. It has i7, a 16 gig graphics card, 1 terabyte storage and 32 gig of RAM, which can then be mounted onto a harness and connected to your back, and this is where you have your VR experiences. Working with the Microsoft HMDs, you're able to connect up and have that fully immersive VR experience with minimal cables. However, once you've done experiencing, you can then take it further, bring it back to your desk, dock it into your docking solution, and use it like a workstation. You're not using your data and moving your data around to go from the experience position back to a device that does the editing and manipulation. You do it on one device that looks cool, and the whole unit weighs around 4.6 kilos when it's on your back. Most of the time I put on people's backs, they say you can't feel it. What is really cool is it is battery powered, both inside the unit and external batteries. while the batteries are charging, you can use it for about an hour. The battery's charged in about 30 minutes. So you could have continual day use of a VR solution. Very quickly, very easy. As I said, not really down the SMB sort of path. Great for those architects, engineers, construction, retail spaces. This is where things are really starting to grow in this sort of space. But just wanted to show it because it is a pretty cool piece of tech from HP.
So guys, wrapping up here, we wanted to make sure that you get the links to understand a bit more about these solutions. The first call to action would be, if you're not part of the Cloud Solution Provider program, please go check it out, register, and talk to your DISTI. That would be the number one. Same thing with HP devices, right? Talk to your DISTI, make sure that you understand the solutions that we have in market, make sure that you have the conversation with your customers around modernizing the workplace, and talk about hardware, software, and even we've seen some partners doing a really good job with furniture, believe it or not. And if you want to learn more about Microsoft 365 Business, there's a link there to partners.office.com. We also have some technical documents at docs.microsoft.com. And if you want to actually experience it and demo it, you can go to demos.microsoft.com, create an account, a tenant, play with it and understand a bit more what's included, how to manipulate it, and follow the technical documents that are really, really simple. And you'll see how simple the experience is. Anything else from you?
No, as Nico said, speak to your distributors, speak to your partner business manager if you've got one. Work with the solutions. We have device as a service offerings that can really bundle all these solutions together to give you that full level of support for whatever way that your customer wants to procure. Let us know how we can help, and we're more than happy to. I think we're going to go to the questions now as we'll go across.
Yeah, sure. So a couple of questions have come through on the chat window. One, Mark, for you, in terms of the SureView and SureClick, any browser considerations? Does it work across all?
SureClick at the moment is Internet Explorer and Chrome and Chromium and Chrome variation. However, we will have Edge supported soon. SureView, absolutely not. That is hardware driven. Like SureClick, it's both hardware and software. SureView is hardware driven. It has to be configured with inside the display. It can't be added on at the end. It's built into the display. No issues with any type of the Microsoft offering there.
Right. And Nico, one for 365, Microsoft 365. When will listings, connections, and invoicing be available in Australia? Is that launching?
Yeah, so we do have, as I mentioned, bookings and Outlook Customer Manager. We do have a set of applications called invoicing, connections, and so on that are helping you transact with the customers or do email marketing and things like that. Those applications have been launched in the US, the UK, and Canada, and we don't have a date yet for Australia, but we are hoping to have something soon. So watch that space. I don't have a date to disclose at this moment.
Okay, thank you. And just a comment from Jason, I think if we can get out with this presentation pack, just some more detail around the actual products included in the business offering. So if we can get a matrix of what's included, a little bit more detail, I think that'll be really handy for the partners on the line.
Certainly. Just so you guys know, and to be very, very clear, because I think I got some feedback around this, this is not a construct and a marketing wrap on 3 different products. It's not Windows, EMS, and Office, by no means. This is a product that is developed on top of Office 365 Business Premium, so it includes absolutely everything that is included in that SKU, and some extra capabilities that not necessarily are features that you've seen before, but extra capabilities. I can send through some information on that, so yes, but I will definitely recommend to go and explore. If you go to the dashboard, you will see very clearly the new cards showing what are the things that you can do from a user setup, a device setup, management, policies, security. So definitely we can share more.
We'll also have this presentation as a recording for later view. We're also going to be doing a bit of a video recording as well that we can get out to you to give you a bit more of an understanding. As I said before, speak to your DISTI, speak to HP, speak to your partner business manager. We're more than happy to help you across the HP side of that as well.
Great.
And with that, we are closing.
Cool.
Thank you very much, guys. And if you have any questions, just reach out.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.